take you somewhere, and there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. This is a word where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set it right pronunciation and we use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, welcome to the world with vision. They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got a mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness a treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Diction Avenue. If this is the first time you're joining us on the show, this is a show on television where you learn how to speak right, and sound English. My name is Abigail Anaba and I am your host on the show. On the show today, we are going to be talking about something that would help you improve the way you speak English. Yes, we're focusing on speaking, not on pronunciation, but on grammar as we take a look at tenses. That's our topic for today. If you joined us last week, we had talked about idioms. This week, we're discussing tenses. But as usual, before we go straight into our topic for today, we're going to give you our question of the day. And I promise you, this is a very simple question. In fact, I doubt if anyone will get this question wrong. And that's a question right there on your screen. Which of these two sentences are correct? As a correct sentence, the boys works every day, or the boys work every day. What do you think? Which of these two sentences are correct? A or B? Well, this is a part of the show where you can be part of the show. All you have to do is send in your correct answer to that question to the number 0805, which is right there on your screen, 0805-584-9525. Send your answer to 0805-584-9525. Do not forget to include your name and where you are texting us from. Remember that number is for text message only. Later on in the show, we'll be taking stories that teach. We also have Ask Anything English, where we answer viewers' questions. But right now, we are going to be taking our topic for today, and that's tenses. And so, when we say tenses, what exactly do we mean? What are tenses? You probably have heard that word used. I mean, if you've attended any English class, you would have heard a teacher talk about tenses. So what are tenses? Well, basically, the function of tenses in spoken English is that tenses tell us what time an action is taking place. That's simply what tenses do. They tell us what time an action is taking place. And so tenses basically work with verbs. Well, you already know what verbs are. Verbs are action words. They're doing words. They're happening words. So you can see why tenses serve to tell us what time an action is taking place or what time an action is happening. So with tenses, we talk about two things. We talk about time and aspect. You might be wondering that before we talk about, we go into time and aspect, why do we need to learn tenses? Well, it's important that you learn tenses because it will help you understand better when a speaker is speaking. There are certain things that we do not go into detail saying when we speak. We just rely on the tenses to help with the mood, with the aspect. And so when you understand your tenses and you use it, you're a better communicator. So now let's look at those two parts, if I may use that word, two parts of tenses, and I'm talking about time and aspect. Remember that I said tenses tell us what time and action is taking place, but it also tells us the aspect. What is aspect? Aspect means duration. So it tells us the time and it tells us the duration. That's simply what time and aspect, time and duration. The duration that the event or what we're talking about actually takes place. So when we talk about time, there are 3 times that tenses take care of. And what are those 3 times? What are those 3 times? Usually you talk about today, yesterday, and tomorrow, or present, past, and future. So there are 3 times that tenses take care of: present, past, and future. And there are 4 aspects that tenses take care of, and those aspects or durations are simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. So all in all, we have 12 tenses, because each of these 3 times has 4 aspects. So if you multiply 3 by 4, you get 12. So there are 12 tenses, 3 times, 4 aspects. Today we'll be looking at one of the times. In fact, a fraction of one of the times, because we'll be talking about the present tense. And the present tense, of course, that's one time with 4 aspects. So the present tense is generally used when you're talking about actions happening in the present, in the now. So sometimes when you're talking about the present tense, you use today. But then even today, because today has 24 hours, you can have past and future in today. So it's best for you to say now when you're talking about the present tense. And so we'll be looking at one aspect of the present tense, and that is the present simple tense. So the simple present tense is used to talk about routines. And when we say routines, we're talking about things that you do every day. That's a routine. It's also used to talk about facts, things that are absolutely correct all of the time. So you can see why we use the simple present tense to talk about routines, things that happen all the time, which means that each time you talk about them, they are true at that particular moment. Remember, we said the present tense is used to talk about what is happening now. So if you use the simple present tense to talk about routines, you're talking about something that is always true all the time. And that is why we say routines and we talk about facts. Facts are always true all the time. And so when you're talking about routines and you're talking about facts, you use the simple present tense. Now, the verb used in expressing the present tense usually stands alone in the singular with an S or plural without an S. We all know how verbs work. When a verb is singular, it has an S. It's the opposite of nouns. And when it's in the plural, it has no S. Remember that the number of the noun or the pronoun will determine whether the verb will be singular or plural. Right. So let's look at examples of the simple present tense. And I have like 4 sentence examples to share with you today. And I'm sure that by the time I finish sharing these 4 sentence examples, you completely understand the simple present tense. So let's look at the first sentence. The first sentence goes, I work every day. I, one person, work, singular. I work every day. Work is the verb. And so because I work every day, I say this in the simple present tense. Remember that I works as if it's the plural. And so that's why I don't say I works. I say I work. Right. The second sentence we have there is she stays home on Fridays. She stays home on Fridays. And that's a singular noun, a singular verb to go with a singular pronoun. She stays, that's the simple present tense. She stays home on Fridays. Stays. And in this instance, we're talking about a routine or it's a fact. Every Friday, she's home. So she stays home on Fridays using the simple present tense stays. And then we have sentence number 3. And sentence number 3 goes, John sleeps at 9 p.m. most weekends. That's also a routine and it's a fact. Most weeknights, John is asleep at 9 p.m. So John sleeps at 9 p.m. most weeknights. So you can see the form of the verb there, sleep, that is a simple present tense. Sleeps because we're talking about a singular noun, John. And then our final example, sentence number 4 is, you play the piano well. You play the piano well. In this instance, I'm stating a fact. You play the piano well. That's a fact. You play it well. And so I use a simple form, play. Play. That's a simple present tense of the verb play. Of course, when you're talking about the simple present tense, the verb as it is in simple present tense. And so you don't change the form of the verb. Except, of course, if it's you're talking the singular or plural of that verb. But the form itself remains play. You don't add anything else to it to form a simple present tense. And so, those are the 4 sentence examples for the simple present tense. Remember that we say we use a simple present tense when we're talking about routines or facts. Do you have a problem speaking the English language? Would you like to improve the way you speak? Well, Ecom offers a 12-week Speak with Confidence course. It's completely online. If you want to find out more about this course, all you have to do is send a WhatsApp message to the number 0805-584-9525 or 0806-128-2222. And then you'll get details as to how you can be part of this online class. The program is still Diction Avenue. At the beginning of the show, I gave out a question and I am hoping that I have received some answers. Yes, I have received some answers, but that's the question up. If you are just joining us, the question is, which of these 2 sentences are correct? Do you think it's A, the boys works every day, or B, the boys work every day? Remember that the sentence should be in the simple present with the correct form of the verb. Well, send your answer to the number 0805-584-9525. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll take Ask Anything English. But that break, we are going to be taking stories that teach. And today we're going to learn about, why don't you listen to the story and you see what it's going to be all about. Don't go away.
Carrie the Chatterbox. Carrie the monkey was such a chatterbox. She was always talking about everything. She didn't know when to stop. You don't have to talk about everything, her friend Mimi advised. You should be quiet sometimes, her teacher told her. But Carrie would not listen. What is wrong with being friendly and chatting with people? She thought. And so she didn't change. She even started chatting to strangers after her friends started keeping away from her. One day, Carrie was walking back from school. She saw a strange animal in a hood. She had never seen this animal before. "Where are you going?" the animal asked. "I'm going home. I just closed from school and I'm all by myself." "Oh," the animal exclaimed. "Are you really all by yourself?" Yes, Carrie nodded. All my friends went home without me, so I have to walk home all alone. Carrie did not know the animal was Czar, the evil tiger. He eats the babies of other animals. She had told him too much, and now Czar knew that no one would come to her rescue if he tried to eat her. But just as he tried to jump on her, Mimi screamed, "Run, Carrie, run!" Carrie ran as fast as her legs could carry her away from the clutches of Czar. She had been saved by her friend who had come back looking for her. The end.
You learned something from that story. There's nothing wrong with chatting to friends, but don't talk too much because you might get into trouble for giving too much information. And this is good advice for all, not just the children. If you're making use of social media, be careful what you share because you just might talk too much and get into trouble. And that was Carrie, the Chatterbox, our story of the day. If you're just joining us, well, you've missed a big part of the show, but you can still learn something from the rest of the show as we go ahead to talk about Ask Anything English. We have so many answers to our question of the day, which has already come in, and we'll be looking at those answers in just a bit. Remember, you can always SMS the answer to the question of the day. The numbers are up there on your screen. But we'll be taking two viewer questions on Ask Anything English today. Remember, Ask Anything English is open. You can always send in your questions throughout the week. You either send a WhatsApp message to 0805-584-9525, or you could message us on Facebook. Institute of Certified Communicators is our name on Facebook, or you can tweet at ECOMNG. ECOM is spelled ICCOMNG. So the two questions we have today, the first question is from Sarah. And Sarah says, "My name is Sarah from Ogun. Please help me pronounce," and she gave 3 words that she would want pronounced. The 3 words, the interesting thing about the question that Sarah asked is that these 3 words may sound alike to a whole lot of people, but they are not said exactly the same way. The first word there is heat. Heat, as in a heat from fire. So in that word, what you have is the long E sound, that's a vowel sound, E, heat. Well, the second word is eat, eat. And this time the first sound in heat is missing, so it's not, it's eat. And I know that for certain people who have issues with the letter H or with the sound H, they either drop their H or they add their H. They end up saying the first 2 words, they interchange it. So when they say heat, when they see heat, they go eat, and when they see eat, they go heat. So you need to watch that. If you have the H factor, you need to be very careful that you do not end up heating instead of eating, or eating instead of heating the pot, right? Imagine you saying, "I want to eat the pot." Eat the pot? That's not possible. Or you say, "I want to heat my food." I would basically believe that you want to put it in a microwave or something, not knowing that you just want to actually do your eating. So be careful with the H factor with that. And then the final word there is hit. Now there's a difference between the first word heat and the word hit. The 2 different vowel sounds. The vowel for heat is E, whereas the vowel for hit is I. So heat, eat, hit. Those are the three words that Sarah asked to be pronounced. So I'm sure that Sarah, you would have the correct answer to your question there. The next question comes from Blessing Oluwatosi. She said, my name is Blessing Oluwatosi. Please help me pronounce the word. And the word you have there, S-T-I-P-E-N-D. S-T-I-P-E-N-D. Something I always tell people, I know that lots of people mispronounce this word. And the reason is that they place the division of the word, the syllabic division of the word, they misplace it. Some persons place the syllabic division after the P, and so they take the first part and they go steep, and then they go end, so they go stipend. But that is the wrong pronunciation for that word. The correct pronunciation actually has the syllabic division after the letter I. And the difference between the first two, where you place a syllabic division, is that you either make it an open or a closed syllable. So if you make it a closed syllable, you end up saying stipend, whereas it should be a closed syllable and you should go stipend. Stipend. And so that's the correct pronunciation of that word. It's not even end, it's not stipend, it's stipend. 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 That's the pronunciation of the word stipend. So I hope Oluwatosi Blessing, you get a correct answer to that question. So you talk about, oh, I was just being paid stipends, which means not so much, just a little money that you could use for one thing or the other, not so much. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send your questions. As I said earlier, you could tweet at EcomNG, you could send us a Facebook message, Institute of Certified Communicators, or you can send us a WhatsApp message, 0805-584-9525 is the number to text. So let's quickly look at our phone lines as we draw the curtains on the show today. Remember, I gave out a question at the beginning of the show, and the question had to do with the form, the simple present tense. We'll just take that question again, and then I'll give out the answer to the question. The question was, which of these two sentences are correct? Is it A or is it B? Lots of answers have come in. I'll quickly take a few. This is Muniat from Agege, B. Muniat from Agege, who gave us a correct answer. The boys work every day. Of course, boys is plural, so the verb form should be plural as well. And as I said at the beginning of the show, a plural verb does not take an S. So Muniat, that's correct answer. This is Azuka from Iyanoipaja Alaguto. Azuka, I'm sorry, you said the answer is A. No, the answer is not A. Plural verbs do not take an S, and a lot of people get confused by that. When they see a noun in the plural form, they feel the verb should also be in the plural form, which is correct, but they think that the verb form should have an S. It doesn't. Plural verbs do not take an S. So I hope you take note of that, Azuka. This is Abdulrazak Jamiu from Ogun State with a correct answer to the question B. Yes. This is, hi, Mrs. Abigail. My name is Aminat from Lagos. So the answer to your question is the boys work every day. Yes, Aminat, that's the correct answer. Let me see how much more I can take. This is Oloyede Oluwabukola from Abulegba, Lagos, also with a correct answer to the question. This is Oyedeji Samuel from Oshogbo Adetunji Estate with a correct answer to the question. This is Abdul Malik Danjuma from Kaduna State with a correct answer. All of these people said B, which is the correct answer to the question. The boys work every day. This is, this is Adeposi Okupe from Akute, also with a correct answer to the question. I wish I could take more correct answers, but our time is just about up, and that's all we can take on the show today. next week. I'm sure you'll join us again next week, same time, 3 p.m. Saturdays, as we bring you Diction Avenue, that show on television where you learn to speak right, and sound English. My name is Abigail Anaba. See you next week.
Let me take you somewhere, and there's something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. This is a word where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set it by pronunciation, and you use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, wake up to the world with vision. They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got a mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness a treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
There's something new.